Good day, everybody. Wonderful to be with you. We are coming to you live here on this Friday, the 14th. As you can see here, right, my buddy, a close friend, partner, Adam Hall, is with me. I'm going to give him a formal introduction here in a moment. And Adam, hey, great to have you here with me.
Great to be here with you, Steve, and everybody at Humanities Team. Looking forward to our time today.
All right, we are too. Fantastic to have you with us here, brother. And so we're going to shout out here to the Humanities Stream Plus members, Humanities Team members, all of our friends on Facebook, all of our friends on Adam Hall's Facebook, and a shout out to the Sign Network. These beautiful people led by John Raymer. We're broadcasting out to their sites as well. And check out, by the way, go to sign.network to check out the incredible work that they do. I think might be very interested in it. Some of you might want to join their community. So now, as we always do during these live programs, we invite you to put your comments and questions right there in the chat. So from wherever you're located, we'll get to as many of your questions as we can. And then near the end of the program, we're going to tell you about next week's program. We've got another great guest in store. Now, our theme here for today's program is Divine Genius, the Unlearning Curve. Also, it's the Global Oneness Summit from 2021. One of the key hosts for the summit was Adam Hall, and we're going to go to some clips from his incredible panels that were part of the 2021 summit. So now let me give Adam Hall a proper introduction as we get started here. Adam C. Hall is an author, speaker, and entrepreneur whose work is dedicated to helping people, communities, and organizations unlearn habits, beliefs, and practices that hinder sustainable and meaningful growth. As a passionate conservationist, he is the founder of the Earthkeeper Alliance, a group that focuses on stewardship of the earth and preserving it for future generations. Adam has enjoyed great financial and personal success, all while maintaining compassion and connection to his higher calling. In his most recent book, Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve, Adam uses ancient wisdom to illustrate how to unlearn all that no longer serves you and live your most authentic life. And again, totally a pleasure to have you with us, Adam. Thanks for being here, brother.
It's just great to be here with you, Steve. And it's just on the heels of such a great year with Humanities Team and the Global Oneness Summit. And congratulations to you and your team and all that's emerging, and excited actually about, well, this year and some of the challenges that we're all facing, and but feeling very good about facing those challenges and together and embracing the opportunities, if you know what I mean.
Yes, we do. Yeah, and so much appreciate your partnership. You helped to make that summit so fantastic. You were one of 6 hosts, and boy, we're going to look at some clips. People will be blown away by these panels you created. Some of the depth that you go down into with Paul Hawk and Len McTaggart, incredible people that were on your panels. So thank you for that, brother. And Adam, I thought a good place to begin is you have such a remarkable career, which you tell the story in this book, Divine Genius. I've got the book and have read most of it. And congratulations on creating this great book. Adam, do you want to just share? So, how did you go from real estate to just this whole Earthkeeper Alliance and all of writing books and all the things that you're doing as an activist out in the world?
Well, thank you for that, Steve. And I'm looking forward to your book, as a matter of fact, as well. And in some ways, I sense that my own personal journey, in many ways, is just a microcosm of what many of us are feeling during these times of great earth changes. And by any measure, I think we would all agree, and perhaps it's even an understatement, Steve, these are transformative times of, well, maybe extraordinary proportions. And, when I began my entrepreneurial career in real estate, I began to focused primarily in the capital markets arena and did quite a bit of work with Wall Street and the emergence of Wall Street back in the 80s and 90s and all the things that were transforming business in terms of capital and certainly specific to real estate. And ultimately what I found, Steve, really at the kind of the pinnacle of my own career of success, of big house and all of those accoutrements that come with that kind of life, was that when it got right down to it, I didn't feel good. And I was kind of Tums in the morning and tequila at night, and quite a bit of it actually. And I wasn't really a nice guy, to be quite honest with you. But ultimately, it began as an invitation that quickly led to kind of a breakdown of the life that I was living, and that, without getting into a lot of specifics, but that was the invitation to embrace what else is there, and why am I even here? Some of these kind of fundamental, basic questions, I think many of us are experiencing in our life right now as we transition through, our challenges of climate, through COVID, through economic, political, extremely divisive world. The invitation to really embrace what can we create in a new world and how can each of us participate. So I began to look at, okay, I have a business of real estate development, capital markets. Instead of junking my life and rejecting life, I said, well, how can I transition into a more meaningful model? And initially I became a B Corp. I began to think more in terms of, what is this land asking for? And in that invitation, it became like, well, my goodness, I can do conservation work and do development work by limiting the development piece and utilizing the capital markets and the tax laws to create something that's more conducive for the land, that's friendlier for communities and for the development. So that began the emergence of the Earthkeeper Alliance as a commercial operating entity. So that should give a little bit of an arc of kind of recalibrating and recalculating and reimagining the Earth conqueror that I was, into becoming more the Earthkeeper. Yes.
Wow, nice, very nice. Earth conqueror, the Earthkeeper. Wow, and there, microcosm. That's a beautiful microcosm of what this whole conscious journey is for so many people, for all of us. As you know, I also came out from Silicon Valley as a business person into this, so we share that. And boy, there's just this. We found real prosperity here, didn't we? Versus just the top line and bottom line growth kind of prosperity that is the American dream, and that is so much of today's business world.
Well, yes, indeed, and it's part of perhaps what's going on is a redefinition of wealth and prosperity, and just put out a little book called the Little Book of Genius on Abundance, and it speaks to what you just brought up, Steve, and the importance that we recognize the fullness of our lives beyond the material aspects, and it's not to say there's anything wrong with those material aspects, and even our ancient indigenous cultures were all about abundance, and it's shared abundance that ultimately expands it more to everyone. And I ultimately began to recognize, even in maybe a state of extreme narcissism that I found myself in, that, my gosh, at the time I had three young daughters. What is this impact on their lives and potentially their children? So I began to examine not only my own life, but the life that I think that the world that I wanted to give forward. So it did invite the invitation, and it sounds, from what I've gotten to know of you and your journey as well, is through that, from the, the silicon chips to, and all that success. And it is a journey. I mean, it may sound like, okay, let's do that. But it begins with that decision, does it not? That says, oh, I'm going to explore. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to ask questions, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a fruitful journey, this conscious journey. It is, as we're both mentioning here, this is really the true prosperity. It's not the old world with the mirage of, oh, it's there, and then you get there, but it's further out. You never get there. And whereas on this conscious journey, we're always there. That's the beauty of it. We're in it every moment of every day if we stay conscious, and which is what your life and your work and your book is about, and it's what Humanity's Team is about. It's what we're inviting people to. And let me just say too, because when we start the conscious journey, a lot of times I'll just say our legs aren't quite as strong because we're new to it, it's emerging, there's some uncertainty. But the further we go down this path into it, the stronger our legs become, the more certain that we are as to how this all works. And some people will ask, I have a program inside of Humanity's Team called Conscious Leadership, and people ask, can I trust it? And I'm nervous about leaving my unconscious workplace. And the fact of the matter is, you absolutely can trust it. We don't advise anybody to just trash something that's their livelihood, walk away from it today or tomorrow or anything like that. But there are mature and responsible ways to journey in this conscious direction. And not only can you trust it, it's so beautiful because we see the true invitation in life, where we're living in this connected place, and where we see our connection include not just to the divine, but the earth and to all of life on earth and to humankind. And where there's connection, there's responsibility. Where there's responsibility, there's positive action. We just naturally want to come into positive action. So I want to invite you. I know Adam is a huge activist. We are in Humanity's Team, and anybody, if you ever want to reach out to Adam or to Humanity's Team, reach out to us, and we can share more about our journey and support you on your journey. Ultimately, that's actually why we're here doing this Accelebration broadcast now. Even though we're telling our stories, it's actually about you. It's supporting you on your conscious journey. And then this even wider mission that we really deeply resonate with, which the way we frame it in Humanity's Team is to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. So to support the collective of all of us, really coming into connection, living from that place of connection, and creating this, what is sometimes called heaven on earth, which again can be our everyday journey. That's the thing about living consciously, is in a sense we're actually in there. We're living in it in every moment where we're stay conscious. That's the beauty of this journey. Well, Adam, so your book is fantastic. Do you want to just talk a little bit about your book? It's incredible the way you brought together your own life story with this beautiful mission, which is what we call conscious living, but what you call divine genius. Where we're unlearning. It's beautiful the way you frame this whole thing.
Well, I'd be happy to, and thank you for all that, Steve. And I think that journey to conscious living is one of trust. And ultimately, when I begin the journey of writing, it was my goodness, this is outrageous. I can't write a paragraph very well, much less a whole book. And you're talking to a guy that did not pass. I got an NP in my freshman year at Berkeley. And so of course there was a lot of self-doubt, but ultimately what I found moving away from the life experience that I was living as in that kind of earth conquering, hard charging business world, businessman per se, that that was a dominant left brain kind of function. And soon as I got a little inkling of something that was creative or something that was musing or kind of tickling or playing with me through early stages of meditation and listening in my own, sadness at the time and breakdown at the time, that little tickle became the muse that as it was asking to share. And hence I committed myself to writing a life trilogy, which began back in 2013 on the heels of my Peru journey and my travels of adventure into exploring Eastern and Western modalities and teachings, and from A Course in Miracles to the Quran, a little bit, the Bhagavad Gita, and many, many other teachings. But ultimately, the muse began to pick up a little bit of momentum. She tickled me even more and said, okay, get comfortable with sitting in solitude. Don't be your little antsy Adam self all the time with it being so impatient with life. So I had to get comfortable with that. And of course, for all you writers out there, you probably get this in your own way, that, there are those spaces and those places. But ultimately, what came forth with this work called Divine Genius, the Unlearning Curve, was an intersection of three key components that were going on in my life. One was the experience of my life, a real life journey. And I think many of us know that, my goodness, we're on this spiritual journey, we're on this conscious journey, but life is still going on over here. My children are having their challenges, or I'm facing a challenge in my work with a partner that I was having. So all these things are still going on. So I share a real-time journey through my life, everyday life, but at the same time, what's happening on the spiritual level, what was going on the soul level. So I shared a story of my connection with what I refer to as an ascended master. And many of us may have guides or angelic guides, whatever they are, or inner musing, whatever that may be. And I begin to take this journey, and the invitation from this ascended master was an invitation to spend 81 days in early sunrise meditations of doing deep work, and to be in a place of receiving not only a voice, but a transduction of light and energy that I experienced in these meditations. So I share the journey with this ascended master. And the other piece was, what were the gems? What was coming out of my everyday life of just challenge and going through my own journey of evolution? What was going on in my spiritual journey? What was going on with my teachers that have now come? And I share those in these 13 wisdom teachings. Ultimately, what it all meant at the end of the day, in terms of weaving the shamanic work and the training with the A Course in Miracles student that I am, that's also part of my teachings today, was we've been given everything. It's already fully present for us. Adam, come on now. Come on. You can get this. It's simple. You don't have to make it difficult. But here's the deal. You don't need anything. I had this, if I only had this syndrome, if I only had more money, if I only had more love, all of that. But it's not a function of that. It's a function of just unlearning the mindset that thinks if I only had. unlearning the mindset that says it's never enough. And we know in the world, the abundance of the world we live in the riches, many who have more than ever imagined do not have enough. Many feel they're poor. And perhaps they are in their own way, but ultimately it was an invitation to unlearn that thought system, the ego and separation. And that was the whole idea of unlearning, and the power of unlearning for reimagining, for reinventing, for engineering, inner engineering of our own divinity. And that's why I put forth this journey, this genius process to unlearn. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Boy. And we need to unlearn the separation thing, don't we? Because where we're stuck, it just seems so simple that where we look out at the world and the challenges that are here, and you just imagine now if we all really deeply understood this connection thing, this oneness thing, that, as you mentioned, that it's actually already here thing, that we don't have to go out, reach out to try and get more. It actually is all A Course in Miracles and conversations with God and so many of these texts, ancient texts, mystical texts, timeless truth texts share. It is already here. And our invitation is just to embrace what is here and to live, in this place of consciousness where all of that beauty, that grace and blessing and beauty and joy and so much more, that is actually a constant state. And it's only because we put like a rain jacket over our head and don't feel it that we don't get to experience it. But when we open ourselves and really allow ourselves to feel what is present always, then the magic of this soul conscious lifestyle graces us. So anyway, beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, beautiful the way you stated that, and let me highly recommend it. So this book, Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve. So check it out. You can buy this through Amazon. Through I think I bought mine through Amazon, but I don't know if you can buy this in bookstores. I think people like to use Amazon, so go check it out. Divine Genius, Adam Hall. I know you'll get a lot out of it. It's such a beautiful, personal, and compelling story, and there's so many important messages that are embedded in this book that are all about the work that we do here in Humanities Team. Adam, there were questions already flying in here. Lydia, George, Cheryl, and Janine, so we got questions flying in. Let me get to one of them, and then I want to go to some of these clips of these panels that you hosted during the Global Oneness Summit that were extraordinary.
Great.
So the question from Lydia is, she says, Adam, would you please talk about the Earthkeeper Alliance? She wants to understand more about Earthkeeper Alliance.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Lydia. And as I was sharing, the outgrowth of my commercial enterprise in real estate was how can I do more work around conserving the land? And hence was the emergence of the Earthkeeper Alliance, initially as really a commercial for-profit entity with a social impact purpose. Ultimately, that work as a commercial enterprise is wound down back in 2016 after doing conservation work primarily here in California, probably on coastal properties. And then what I began to focus on more was my writings, my teaching work, and how I can support other emerging earthkeepers. I was initiated back in 2006 in the high Andean mountains as an earthkeeper, what the lineage refers to as an earthkeeper, which could best be defined as an individual, a light, a heart, a soul that has accepted their mission to serve the greater unfolding, the greater uplifting of humanity. And it's a dedication that I committed myself to, but it's not only simply a service to the earth, but to the plants, the forest, the fauna, the mountains, the apus, our children, in many ways. So Earthkeepers come in many forms or fashions, and they just come in all ways of service. And I'm being flooded now, just after doing the Earthkeeper Summit, which we had 80,000 participants, Earthkeepers, that came, and I'm being flooded with many, like, I'm ready to find my mission. So the Earthkeeper Alliance is, as a formality, is not a large organization. It's a connection point, a seed point of which we are reaching out across the globe to connect with other earthkeeping organizations. There are organizations, then it could be anywhere from a Unity Earth, which we know quite well, to a World Solutions, World Service Organization. There are many beautiful organizations that are doing earthkeeping work. So the work that I'm doing here is to inspire primarily the individual to embrace their earthkeeping selves and to help them to cross the bridge into service of not only their own light in their own soul, but service to the planet. And that's what we're up to a bit at the Earthkeeper Alliance. And that's really what primarily calls me every day to be of service. I particularly care deeply about the forest, and that is where I spend a lot of, well, my own resources supporting the reforestation and replantation of our forests that have been decimated across this beautiful planet we share.
Wow, beautiful, Adam. Beautiful. Yeah, what great work. So you're certainly blessed doing work like this each and every day. So we're going to now, let's just go over to this Global Oneness Summit, where, as I mentioned, Adam was one of the hosts here in 2021. One of his panels was called Quantum Health and Wellness. We've got a 3.5-minute clip. Let's go take a look at that clip, and then Adam and I are going to talk a little bit about it.
I put forth this question: can we unlearn death and disease and relearn life and wellness? And just a quick backstory to that. And back in 2004, by any measure, I was in a state of, well, probably one of my first a few midlife crises. And I was in a state of disease. And in the shamanic worlds, we call it death is stalking us. And I'd reached a choice point. Was I going to degenerate or regenerate? And I ultimately decided I wasn't going to let the Tums and the tequila make that choice. So what was a man to do? Well, I went to Peru to seek the medicine, from the medicine women and men of ancient times, of ancient wisdom, the Earthkeepers and the wisdom casket, to seek the medicine that would help heal my toxic body, to help my broken heart, to help me fix my corrupt mind. And I went into the jungles and the mountains and the sacred valley. And that's where I met you, Alberto, way back when. I'll never forget, here I was, signed up for the Via Luminata.
I remember that, yeah.
I remember that, buddy? And of course, the Via Luminata, the path of illumination. And well, I thought it was a retreat, but it was a retreat plus. Little did I know what I was getting into, but I'll never forget that first night there with you in the Sacred Valley. And you were giving one of those great evening talks. that you do. And you pose the question, can you get out of this lifetime alive? And wow, that question really hit me. Can you get out of this lifetime alive? What does that mean? And if that is true, what are the implications of that? And I wasn't about to wait around to my last breath to find out the answer to that. And of course, it was about letting go of a life, of a mindset, of a conditioned state that lives in a perpetual state of death and disease. To do it now, not later when it's, well, maybe a little more difficult or too late. So it inspired me in many ways to go on this quest to find out the answer to that question for myself. And as a matter of fact, it became the subject matter of my new book, The Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve.
Wow. Wow. What a great clip there. Well, there's a lot that was distilled into that clip there, Adam. And, it's wonderful. You're so disclosing and vulnerable, sharing your story of just what it was and what it's come to be, and the lessons learned along the path, and that you're inviting people to, this whole unlearning thing, which there's, in fact, one of the next questions here is from George, who says, Adam, what are the primary things that humanity needs to unlearn? So there's people are interested here. How would you answer that question, Adam?
Well, thank you for that question, and very timely, George, because I subscribe to, well, let's say a cosmology, a consciousness of my own personal evolution that identifies only one thing that humanity and us as individuals must unlearn. And that one thing is the thought that formed the basis of a thought system that's defined by the ego that only knows separation. This is directly from A Course in Miracles, in my work with the Course in Miracles. There is only one problem and one solution. So the work that I'm coming forth with in the unlearning is unlearning that one thought. Sounds simple, and it really is simple. But here's the challenge, is what Einstein said. You can't solve the problem from the place that the problem was created. So what are we to do? What are we to do? Because in where the problem was created, we can't solve that problem, that thought of separation. So beautifully, what A Course in Miracles shares with us, that we must take this journey back to the source of the problem. And when we can return to the source of the problem, that we can choose again. See, we humans all share three things. One is we share the problem. We share this thought system, this idea of separation, and this thought of the ego that keeps us locked in an identity of division and our own duality. We all share that. We also all share the thought system of what I refer to as the divine genius. Some refer to it as the Christ mind, the Buddha mind, the Krishna mind, whatever you want to call it. You want to call it the unified mind, the whole mind, whatever that may be, but I refer to it as the genius. We all share that genius. And lastly and thirdly, George, we have the ability to choose between the two. The journey is to come back to that choice, away from this thought system that has locked us in that separate problem, and to be able to take that journey. And I believe through the Genius process and things that I'm offering, as well as others, that offer us a way to unlearn the thought system and the programming through our neuroplasticity of this brilliant operating system, the human body, to come back to the choice point and choose again. So to answer your question, there is only one thing humanity needs to do. And of course, there's a lot of other kinds of things, but you asked, and that's my answer of what would best serve us all going forward. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful, Adam, and so important what you're talking about here. We're to unlearn this separation thing. And as we know, this ancient truth, this timeless truth, mystics have shared it over millennia. Sacred text actually shares it, including the Bible, that we are all one. We're actually emanations of the one, or you could say offspring of the one. There are different ways to state this, but that there is no such thing as separation. And the interesting thing is that now scientists are affirming this. So it's not even just left to the mystics of over time. Humanities Team is a program that we're right in the middle of right now. It's called Forbidden Science because it's not allowed in the classroom, and it's with Nassim Haramein, a physicist down in San Clemente, California, and Greg Braden, a geologist out of New Mexico, and where they bring forward their research, including Nassim's unified field theory, which he is unveiling, I think, next month, which is shares everything is deeply entangled, that this whole Big Bang thing happened of this living, breathing universe, and that everything's deeply entangled, everything is connected, that he shares as a scientist, that we're all one, that this is a living, breathing, intelligent, conscious, loving field. And then he even says that field, which is the whole of it or the collective, exists at a cellular level within each of us. So these things like clairvoyance and claircognition are all explained. The field is within each of us at a cellular level, and almost all of us in our lifetime have had these experiences of how did I know that? Where I felt into something in the future, I was giving something in the future. How did that happen? And now we actually have the science that explains exactly how that happened. The field is within, and we have to just unlearn some things and train ourselves in some things, some capacities that are here now. So really beautiful. That's what this whole, again, that's why we're coming to you in this acceleration program. I know we're telling our personal stories, but it's really to support your conscious journey. And to invite you to really, if you're not already fully living it, to fully live it. And if you're already fully living it, to invite others to fully live it, so that this whole of humanity and the whole of the earth can come into, in one generation, can come into this whole conscious living thing, which is then going to restore all of the earth and humankind to the true invitation of life, which is something much more special than what is experienced by most people out in the world today. That's why we're here for this Acceleration broadcast. So now let's go to another clip of, again, so Adam Hall was a host of the Global Oneness Summit in 2021. I hope, by the way, he's going to be back in 2022. He's an extraordinary host. So let's go to a clip here from another one of his panels. This is called Regeneration, Living in Oneness with All of Life. And this is with Paul Hawkins. So wow, check this out.
So yes, things start as maybe one person speaking, saying, doing, acting, for sure. But the thing we know is that beliefs do not change action. If that was true, there'd be a whole world acting with respect to global warming. Yeah. What changes beliefs is action itself. And so regeneration is very, very much about connection and action.
Well, thank you for that, Paul. As a matter of fact, you mentioned the word agency. You have a wonderful piece on agency in regeneration. And I think that really speaks volumes to the engagement piece and things that we want to engage in terms of our that we all are here to contribute to this together, not in an individual way, but in a unified way. And that's one of the great inspiring things about regeneration is it does create that invitation. And you reminded me some years ago when the recycling became the thing. And I'll never forget. I'll take 2 recycling bins, and then not long after that, I go, well, wait a second, I shouldn't be even filling one. So I do have one. I got rid of the other one, but I still have one just in case. Don't even get to that point. But anyway, that's another story. And and obviously these are incredible times, and all the data that we've been talking about and things that's stirring within us, and the invitation that you're putting forth, the reverence for all of life and everything and everyone is such a powerful one. And in many ways, it reminds me of this golden wisdom, Paul, of the master martial artist. And maybe this is also wisdom from the Mother Earth in her own way that says that if you can anticipate, you can adapt. And if you can adapt, you can avoid. And if you can avoid, you can survive. And by the way, if we can adapt, we can avoid, and it's just more than survival. It's not about sustainability or survival, but if we can do that, then we can regenerate all of life like Mother Nature does, right?
Okay, beautiful. So we're going to talk about this clip. First, let me share that you can see on the screen, it says Humanity Stream Plus. There's this image that comes up after both of these panels. So just to tell you a little bit about it, this is this revolutionary platform that Humanity's team has. It's called Humanity Stream Plus, and it's a true streaming platform. True streaming platforms, of course, they go IP across the internet, which means then because they stream that way, you can pick them up on your handy iPhone. You can pick them up on your Roku, on your Amazon Fire tablet. You can pick it up on your computer. You can pick it up on any device. So and Roku, you can get a $13 little Roku card if you don't already have one. My wife and I, here you can see these are we have hundreds of programs, conscious programs on this Humanity Stream Plus platform. My wife and I like to watch the programs using Roku in our master bedroom at night instead of TV or mindless things. We usually watch these programs because we're just giving you a little taste here for like these panels that Adam did. They're fabulous. They're so incredibly thought provoking. I promise you that there's wisdom that is amazing. It's kind of like eating potato chips. You go in to watch Adam's panel and then another panel, and then you can see here this Forbidden Science Masterclass I was just talking about. That's with Nassim Haram and Greg Braden, or this Higher Love program. There are incredible, again, there are hundreds of programs on this platform. It's only a little more than $1 a day for the streaming platform. Last year, we added 46 new programs to the streaming platform. We'll add that many this year. So a little more than $1 a day, which is about a third of the price of a Starbucks cup of coffee. And then you're bringing this kind of conscious nourishment into your home. So, and to watch with your wife or your kids, or and to take into your workplace, and ultimately to take into the world, make this whole conscious living pervasive worldwide thing happen. So invite you to check it out. There's also a 14-day guarantee period. So you got 2 weeks to just check it out. By the way, at the top, you see browse there. So you could enter Adam Hall in browse, or Paul Hawken in browse, Desmond Tutu or Yoko Ono or Deepak Chopra or whoever your favorite people are. And it'll show you where on the site their programs are. And again, there are hundreds of programs, so you're going to be shocked at what comes up from your search. So this was our contribution. We're a global nonprofit organization. And our particular contribution to really accelerating this whole conscious living thing is to build this streaming platform that's extending out across the world. Half of the people that we work with are in the United States, half are out of the United States. One of the things we're doing is translating all of these programs now. We just completed a fundraiser that's translating these programs you're looking at into Spanish. Adam Hall, who's here with me, was one of the key contributors to this translation project. So, Adam, thank you. Thank you for helping us bring in Spanish to our brothers and sisters all over the world that speak Spanish these amazing programs. That's another area where you're contributing, Adam.
Well, you're so welcome, and just seeing all the treasure trove of what you're sharing there. It's like I was trying to look at, well, what's this one say? It was very stimulating, exciting, and how wonderful that you're bringing Humanity Stream to a global populace that is a very predominant language. And one of the things I enjoyed about being on the stream and the shout out to love during Global Oneness Week is when we went around the world. Remember, we went around the world, and there was a piece of all the team that's all over the place, and many are in Latin America and Spanish-speaking countries. So I'm honored and pleased to be bringing this work to that part of the world and to those that speak Spanish. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you. You gave us a really hugely generous gift. You'll see when you go to the platform and you're looking at Spanish subtitles that there's acknowledgement there of Adam's generous gift to help our brothers and sisters all over the world that speak Spanish to watch these programs. We're going to next go to the other major languages. All the major languages will be there. The vision here, as we talk about this whole 2040 thing, conscious living all over the world, is wow, imagine, where all the major languages are there, and you're adding these like 50 programs a year, and then all the live events. So even right now, the people that are Humanity Stream members are invited. They can come on camera and actually talk to Adam. They instead usually like to post their questions. So I've got a whole bunch of them right here that I'm going to bring to Adam. And then there's the live mentoring, like there's one with Nassim Harriman, a live program here in the next couple of weeks. And you can't get time with somebody like Nassim Harriman. He's a busy physicist that's primarily doing research, but he's a whole hour live with people that are stream members and also Greg Braden. We're announcing tomorrow our new masterclass. And I don't think my Humanity Stream partners will be mad at me for announcing this now live on Accelebration. It's the most requested program that we've had in the last couple of years, and it's called Discover Your Soul's Purpose. It's with Michael Bernard Beckwith and Neil Donald Walsh. And, I mean, can you think of two more fantastic leaders to teach a program like that, Discover Your Soul's Purpose? So you'll see us tomorrow unveil that. And wow, we spent 9 months working on it, and we're so excited to be unveiling it. And then they're going to be coming in and doing live mentoring for the Stream Plus members. So, and then we do watch parties. We do a lot of things. So check it out, humanitiesteam.org/stream, and then you'll see that whole platform. And go up to the top, browse, and punch in Adam Hall, and you'll be shocked at all the things Adam's done with us over the years. So, and you can go check out those programs. So, Adam, I'm going to bring you some more questions here. So, Vance says, Adam, how do you explain critical mass point for humanity to awaken?
Well, I mean, I think we've heard it's things like the 100th monkey effect. We've heard about the 10% awakening to the greater potentiality of the potential of who we are in oneness and ourselves. So, Vance, your question of critical mass is very relevant. But I think what is often can be kind of maybe take us away from the wrong, that question is each of us in and of ourselves contain the critical mass. in other words, when we return or remember or return to the place we never left, our genius, our oneness, our wholeness, that in and of itself, what I found is that the place that I connected with was the center point of the mass. In other words, I know that is a little metaphysical in nature, but ultimately I believe when we look at quantum physics, and one of the phenomena in quantum physics is our duality. Another one of the phenomena in quantum physics is entanglement. So what I found when I moved away from just this idea of duality, the 3D nature, through an entanglement process, that moved me closer into a place of our oneness. And if you think about that, which is the quant, and if you think about a circle, just imagine for a moment, Vance, the circle, that within the circle is the center point. And in the center point is touching all other points in its interconnectivity. So I believe each of us holds the answer to, I would say, exponentially bringing together the critical mass. And that's not to be ignore inviting others and doing our work in the world to come to critical mass, but it begins right here. And that's my practice every day, is to show up, to be part of that critical mass. Hopefully that makes some sense.
Yes, it does. Amen to that. And that's what we're building. Critical mass is the key. So, and it starts with ourself. It's all an overflowing thing where we start. It has to, we have to go within and really get this thing going with each of us individually. And then it's just as an overflowing kind of thing where people just can feel it. It's like, well, what is going on with you? I notice something different about you. You can see it. You can feel it in a person. It's more than an articulation. There's a being state that we come into which is the fullness of this whole conscious living thing. You can see it in Adam and in his work and his book and Earthkeepers Alliance, and his summit that he just came out of, Earthkeepers Alliance. So the beautiful thing is when we're all doing this together, right? And I know you're watching because you're conscious too. So, and let me remind you, Humanity's stream members, to come on camera because you're beautiful people and we can see it and feel it in you too. And I know a lot of people like to just share your questions here, which we'll certainly get to. And they're great questions, by the way. Let me bring one more over to Adam here. This is from Jade. And Jade said, what is your experience with bringing oneness ideas into business practices?
Well, love that, Jade. And there's no greater social engine than the business community. And it's been an extraordinary journey, not only through my own life experience, moving from a kind of what I would describe as kind of a serial entrepreneur, a business man with that competitive dog-eat-dog mindset, win or lose mindset. And what I'm finding in those that I'm working with, in business that I'm working with, and in leadership that I'm working with, is that the receptivity to the idea of oneness and interconnectivity, those barriers are coming down slowly but surely. For obvious reasons. One is certainly we have things like COVID and conditions on the ground that are happening, be it economic conditions or things that are happening in the traditional ways of business. And also, most importantly as well, is technology. So technology is removing the barriers, just like the web removed the barriers of our interconnected global connection. So I'm optimistic about what is happening in the arena of business and business leadership around, well, let's just call it conscious leadership. I refer to it as genius leadership, and in the oneness of that. one of the things that I'm inviting executives to do, or leaders to do, or team leaders to do, of whatever they are, is before they spend any time within their team or within a meeting or in a Zoom place, is that they find the oneness in their own selves, even if it's for 5 minutes, and just to breathe into a place of saying, I am here too. I am present. In my breath, the power of the breath, the power of the heart, right? And ideally that flows into the connection with their team. So a bit of nonlinear thinking and a bit more of just touching in with our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our spirit is the gentle reminder verse. This is what should be. You need to be conscious because you're unconscious, it implies. You need to be in one because you're separate. That's just differentiating in the same old thing. But when we can breathe together or invite them to breathe or be in a heart, it works miracles, as a matter of fact. I've seen it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And you're bringing it into a business here now, and as we are in Humanities team with the streaming platform and really the culture of the organization. Yeah, boy, if you and my own thing was coming from Silicon Valley here, and what allowed me to come here to Humanities team was bringing these conscious practices into my technology life when I was in Silicon Valley running these companies. The reason they grew so fast, allowing me to retire at an early age so I could come into the real reason that I embodied, was because of those oneness or conscious or genius practices. Essentially, conscious or genius practices is really about love. You're basically a more loving person, is what you are. That's its basis. It's its essence. And so, I mean, when you bring more love into your workplace, of course, you're going to be more successful. Oh my goodness, where people feel real, and it's not differentiated of the janitors treated. Oh, get out of as somebody else. In oneness, everybody is hello, come in. That's how this love is present for everybody, and not just people, the planet and animal life and plant life. And so it's a beautiful thing. It creates an incredible culture, and it creates incredible success in business. So, boy, if you're looking at bringing it into business, I'd just say full speed ahead and watch what happens. Incredible. Well, our hour is already up here, Adam. Oh my goodness. We'd love to have you back, for More Than Global Oneness Summit, bring you back to our Accelebration. I want to thank you so much. In this book, Divine Genius. So check it out. Go to Amazon and take a look at this book. I've got it, and it's fantastic. Also check out Earthkeepers Alliance, an amazing organization. Adam was kind of inviting you to it. He was inviting the whole world to it in the summit that was just recent. So check out both of these things, and go to the Humanities Stream Plus platform. Again, it's humanitiesteam.org/stream, and to browse, just plug in Adam Hall and check out where he is, these programs that he's created. We're talking to him now about other programs, so hopefully we're going to have an opportunity to add more of Adam Hall to the platform. We're big fans of his. So thank you, Adam. Thanks for spending the hour with me. We're going to show, I think we have a slide here next week, same time. It's always 11 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific. We do Accelebration. It's a live program. We'll have Neil Donald Walsh, who's, of course, founder of Humanities team, with us next week. So be sure to check that out. And if you like the program, like us out on Facebook, leave us a comment, throw a question at us. We love to have the interactivity with you, the engagement with you. So we welcome anything that you might want to share out on social media. I want to just thank my partners that make this program possible. Jim Gray is the director producer of this program. We're usually together in a studio. So he's live up in Loveland. I'm in Boulder here today. But Jim, thank you, brother. Dee Meyer, Nanette Kennedy, Karen Gordon, Garth Catterall. So all of my partners in Humanities Team, Tim Noah, thank you guys for making this program possible. And we'll see you next week. Adam, thanks, brother. You know,
It's so great.
For an
What a
hour.
gift to be here with you. Yeah, it's just great. And congratulations to you and your team. And thank you everybody for joining today. And please be sure to check out my website, adamhall.solutions. I'm offering a free master's class on there on how to create impact and become a real player on the earth-keeping stage of social impact and whatnot. So it's on my website, and I'm happy to share that with anybody anytime. And please feel free to contact me. Thank you again for having me.
Perfect. AdamHall.solutions. Check it out, and take Adam up on it. Adam is he is a guy with a whole lot of wisdom, been part of the evolutionary leaders for forever, a very esteemed leader in the world. So yeah, reach out to him. Okay, brother. Thank you, and look forward to having you back soon here. You know, he's coming to you from
Anytime.
Santa Barbara, by the way. I'm coming to you from Boulder, Colorado, and thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.